Yo, welcome to Six Slayers, the comic signature show, period. I'm Mike the Six Slayer, chilling with Mark the Honorable Villain. What up, fam?
What's up, Mike? We're back at it again with a Six Slayer favorite, and he brought along a member of his team. I'm excited to hear how these guys collaborate. Let them know who we got, Mike.
Yes, sir. We have indie creators, Jamal Anansi joining us again, and he brought his collaborator artist, Lukas Koelbel. Before we chop it up with Lukas and Jamal, though, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please comment. Yes, all right. Our next guests are the creators of the Dark One series. We have writer Jamal Anansi joining us again. And for the first time, we have artist Lukas Koelbel joining us. What's up, man?
I was. Oh, what it do? It's my
Man.
boy, man.
Well, we excited. We're excited right now. We're going to just dive right on in. The first question is for you, Lukas. Since it's your first time joining us, we always like to get our guests comic book origin story. In other words, when did you start creating comics? When did you go from just being a regular just doodler and, you know what, I'm about to do sequential art?
I feel like I've been creating comics ever since I was a little kid. I started reading manga when I was, I don't know, like 10 or 12. And before that, it was like, you know, Asterix and just Donald Duck cartoons and stuff like that. And as soon as I could draw stick figures, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make these guys fight. I did the like doodles of like stick figures fighting each other. And then during the pandemic, you know, I really upped my game a little bit, got better as an artist, and then started taking commissions. And here we are. I met Jay and started making some real cool stuff. So
that's awesome. Okay,
making magic, man, making miracles. For real.
What are some other creative influences, storytelling wise, visual wise, growing up?
I've always been a huge movie nerd. So I love like every sci-fi movie you could think of. I also was super into I don't know if you guys know Warhammer, but yeah. Karl Kopinski is excuse me. He's one of like the old head excuse me, I don't know what happened there. He's one of like the old head Warhammer artists. He did all like the oil paintings and the splashes for all the books and stuff. It was some of my favorite stuff. I would always draw his like Nurgle monsters and stuff like that. That was some of my favorite stuff, was just all the Warhammer lore books and stuff like that. And, you know, like I said, movies, bunch of Star Wars stuff I used to love drawing. And just pretty much anything nerdy I could get my hands on. I was just drawing it. I was just trying to be like those guys.
Dope.
Jamal and Lukas, can you break down your collaborative process? Jamal, can you tell us your process as a writer? And Lukas, can you tell us your art process after receiving the scripts?
I know we all interested in hearing what Lukas got to say because y'all tired of hearing me talk. I definitely understand. But as far as my process as a writer, I just try to make sure like I got, you know, a good core story as far as just, you know, interesting characters and, you know, just a good sweep of, you know, the arc of what's going on as well as action, because it's a comic book. So I'll be trying to put, you know, not just the words and, you know, the what and the why, but the, you know, how, you know, and the action is kind of like the crucible that, you know, all, you know, comic book fans are here for. Because, you know, we here for the drama suspense, but at the end of the day, we're here for the boom, kick, pow, you know, the action. And, you know, Lukas, he does those scenes, you know, remarkably well, man, especially not just in Nightwalkers where we kind of hinted to the violence, but it was like kind of foreboding, you know, because I love the way he does, like, you know, he can definitely do that foreboding tone as far as being in the dark and the shadows and everything. Think of it in my head and to write it down on paper is one thing, but to see like Lukas bring all that to life and or add color and texture and depth and dynamicism to all those characters is just awe-inspiring, man. I just look at his work and just stare at it sometimes, man, because he's really dope, man.
I got a follow-up question real quick, Jamal. Did you have to adapt your scripts in any way for another person to interpret? Because it's one thing to just write a script just straight up, you know, and you know what's going on. But then did you have to adapt it for someone to see the concepts and to see what your vision was?
Not really, because I try to write in a clear and simple way to where, you know, my artists can understand, you know, but if they do got questions, they can ask, and I'm super flexible with everything. And I appreciate just the feedback, the back and forth. Like, it was a lot of times where, like I had wrote something, Lucas like, yeah, we got this, but how about if you do it like that? Just different little character designs and things like that. But yet still, like, he was, dope enough to be like, nah, man, I want to stay true to your script, man. You wrote this, that, and that, so that's what I'm trying to do, And it was like little differences to where, like, for example, okay, it was in Godblade where it was like a scene between the Goblin Wizard and, Ajani, like our wizard. And they was fighting and all like that. And it was just like, it's one thing to write it out and to see it, but I mean, it's one thing to write it out, but when you see it and like, when he draws out and like layouts, like, oh, okay, it's missing a pound, like it's missing like a beat, or something like that. So we can, have that back and forth, that dialogue, man, how about you put this in, or you change this, like, not like instances like that, like even like something as simple as putting lightning in the background, to emphasize like certain things. It's like, Lucas is dope is where, he always was willing to, listen and, just figure it out, together. Like, man, he was real, like, it was a real collaborative experience, man. That's why I want to take him everywhere I go, man. Really, like, I don't care how far on his, comic journey we go, man. I want to take him, forever, because he's just not even just a dope ass artist, but a dope ass partner as far as collaboration, man, because he makes it fun. He makes it easy. Like, we're both having fun doing it, man. He's having fun drawing. I'm having fun watching him draw.
Yeah, like Jamal said, it's a super collaborative process. That's kind of always been my way of working with writers, especially, is they have an idea in their head and I want to get it on paper as close to what they were thinking as possible. So I'll do a pass of like reading their script, and I kind of have a layout in my head, but once I have that layout on paper, they might say, oh, I was actually thinking this other angle or this other thing. So, after we have all the characters laid out, we have some settings. I like to go in there and just do super rough sketches and just keep bouncing it back and forth. Any ideas either one of us has, I try to sketch it out to see if this will work better than that or whatever. And that's just kind of my process. Is I like to bounce back and forth ideas, because if I'm just sitting there drawing, even I at one point don't even know if it looks good anymore. So I have to have someone else look at it and tell me, yeah, that's right, keep going with that. So that's kind of how my process usually goes.
Lucas, can you tell us what about Jamal's scripts appealed to you?
Yeah, I right away,
Lucas.
I was kind of drawn into this expansive mythology. I've always loved like Greek mythology and like ancient myths and all kinds of fantasy tales and even just like random little lore elements. So when Jamal sent me the Nightwalkers, I was immediately drawn in by this like dark fantasy but post-apocalyptic world, and then he started telling me about the expansive lore, all the mythology that came into it, the different gods and how they relate to one another, and it blew my mind. This like expansive world that he's building is really incredible. The Age of the Dark Ones is here, and it really got to me. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it's so cool. We'll just
man.
talk about his world sometimes, man. It's so sick.
That's dope. Jamal, here's a question for you. Tell us what was it like to interact with comic book fans for the first time, setting up your table at LA Comic-Con?
Man, that shit was surreal, man. It was really like I was walking and dreaming at the same time, homie. I mean, to not just, create, a comic book, in a vacuum almost. You're doing it in your room by yourself, over the computer, over the phone, with your friends, your partners, business partner, whoever. But to actually, okay, now I'm in the car with my stuff. Now I bought the comic books. Now they coming in the mail. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm opening the shit up, and it's like, y'all, I'm awestruck, especially coming from where I came from, homie. And the environment I came from, to now doing this, to sitting down and then not even just that, homie, because Lucas is so fucking dope. He created fucking, like, each book is a work of art, homie. He's not even just a great comic book artist, but he's a spectacular graphic artist, man. Like, he helped me with my logo, man, with my Dark Ones logo, with the actual, with this logo as well, and the title logos and everything. Even inside the book, like, he made my handwriting into an actual font, for the story. You know what I mean? And even in like Like I even because spoiler alert for folks who haven't read the the Godblade yet. He even did things like this where because his journal entries in the beginning written by Ghost, man, and he took those journal entries and able to not even just put them, Okay, hold on. I gotta show this stuff. Cause you dope, Mark. You dope, Lucas. Like this right here, and put them on, parchment paper, like how it's really written in journal with blood stains. Like he did that. You know what I mean? Like he's really like a dope at. Like he's from top to bottom, from from pencils, the inks, the colors, the letters. Like he really does it all. Like he's really like a Renaissance man. Like
art direction, everything. Yeah.
Hey, Lucas, can you give us a little bit more about your artistic background? What sort of methods do you prefer working with?
So for the longest time, I was only ever drawing on paper, pen and ink style. I take huge inspiration from, like I said, Karl Kopinski and Kim Jung-gi, and Mike Mignola. So for the longest time, that's all I did. I just drew on paper with inks, and then at some point, one of my dad's friends is also a comic book artist, and he told me, man, these are fine. You might be able to do something with this, but if you really want to up your game, you're gonna have to get a tablet. So I bought one of those tablets that you draw on the tablet and it goes on your screen.
Oh, the Cintiq or something?
It wasn't even a Cintiq. It was like a Wacom, like the Intuos, I think they're called.
Okay.
Like the tiny ones for like $70 or whatever.
Okay.
You know
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then I had like a laptop that was like $70 or something, and I got Clip Studio Paint, and I was just like, okay, I gotta learn this now. And then I kept going and started picking up these tips and tricks off of YouTube and drawing other people's characters until I scored some jobs during the pandemic. And then I was just spending all my quarantine trying to up my drawing game. And I also worked on games, a couple just indie video games. And my friend does RPGs, so I drew her RPG cover.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Anything I could get my hands on, basically. I've been drawing all my life, as long as I can remember. That's what I love to do, I'm just glad I can, even the logos and stuff, I've done graphic design, so I was like, hey, I'll do your logo, I'll do the graphics, whatever, try to build the brand. It's whatever I can get my hands on. I really like designing and making stuff, so it's kind of my passion.
That's dope, man. Okay, Jamal. All right, this question's for you, and it's also for aspiring comic book creators who's a couple steps behind where you are now. Looking at you and like, man, I got to see what this dude did. You know what I mean?
Right.
How long did it take you to make the Dark Ones after you had scripts ready? So, in other words, how long did it take you to find Lucas and the other artists, and then how long did it take you before you actually, from that moment to the moment you actually saw pages?
Man, okay, so shit. I found Lucas probably like within a couple weeks of looking on Facebook groups and everything, the artist groups and everything, because you basically hit up, do a post. I'm a writer looking for artists, this, that, and the third, or you just scroll through, different artists advertising their abilities and things like that. I think that's how I found you, because I was scrolling. I found something. I'm like, damn, and I was seeing the things he was doing with Chris, man, and then when I discovered like he does everything, pencils, inks, colors, and yes, you're high. That type of thing.
So how long did that take? So it's a couple weeks to find them.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, my bad. Okay, yeah, because I can talk about Lucas all day long. It took about for Nightwalkers, it took about probably like 2 months, like a month and a half. It wasn't that long, but what took long was because I was finding artists, so I had 3 other artists, while working together, and it took a little while. Let me see, because after you did Nightwalkers, you did the Jaco the God of Death. How long did you took you to do that? Like maybe like 3 months?
3 months or something, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, to get all that together, we was like, okay, cool. Then we had that first book going. Then it was like, well, shit, we got the second book going at the same time too. So like, let's put the second book out too, because we had Nightwalkers and Clovis Batibola from Brazil. He was just finishing up with Okeem and the Gods of Life story. And then what's the third story we had in there? Nightwalkers or King of the Gods. So like, oh, and the second, the
Go.
second Ebony and the Golden Gun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we had that one too. So we, putting them all together. So everything was like in succession. Like it started coming together because they all started finishing around the same time. But from beginning to end, probably about a year. I'm not gonna lie, but I have a lot of content though. You can see like in that year.
Well, a year, that's not that long, dude.
Yeah,
I know dudes that's still trying to get, an artist. You know,
Oh man.
you know what I mean? Like trying to fit the vibe. Question for both of you. So, what should we expect next from the Dark One series?
Man. Right? Yeah. Hey, man. Got plans. I don't want to. Well, actually, what I want to do is not just promote, what I got right now, but with Lucas, we was talking about a crossover event because I got all my characters. I got Ghost and the Prophet. I got and the characters from the Godblade, Kali, and the Goblin King, who I haven't gotten the name yet. Then I got I got Ebony the Golden Gun. I want to bring all that together, all those characters together into one big story. But that's like that's gonna take like a little time because y'all still got to get the full breadth of the the rest of the Ebony the Golden Gun story. Then y'all got to get the rest of the Ghost and the Prophet, not necessarily, but it's still there. But I mean, before that, I was thinking about, because my sister, she had suggested that, like to do like another Nightwalker story, but like a one shot, like a 24-page. I didn't even holler at Lucas about it yet, but that's my next idea because she was so into that. Because it was like, besides the Ebony, which was obvious, because he's like, you gotta do Ebony. That's my favorite character. You gotta do Ebony. But the Nightwalker story, that whole like what Lucas was talking about, the whole culture and the whole lore of the Night Elf and the Native American. So you bring both of those dynamics in, and on top of the dystopian world and the new rules, it's so much potential for great stories there. So I know Lucas, have a ball with that whole thing, and he loves drawing, the Nightwalker with the skull mask on, and then the whole it's gonna go crazy, man. Like it's so much fun. Like that's one of the things I try to do too. I try to make my characters fun for the artist to draw, and the scenes fun for my artist to draw. So it's like they don't get bored. It's like, damn, I love drawing this character. And once they tell me, give me that feedback, like you like this, you like that, okay, no problem. Next story I wrote, I'm gonna put some more of that shit in.
Since the last time you were on, we got Godblade out, right?
Yeah, man.
That's
Godblade.
New, right? Yeah.
That's brand new, fresh off the presses.
Boom.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Godblade
Just came out.
They gonna see the graphic up. I'm gonna have this blown up.
Yeah. 24-page run shot, man. Illustrated by yours truly, man. Lukas Koelbel, man. He did everything, man. A dude spectacular.
Hey, Lucas, I gotta ask. Well, this is a two-part question, okay? Because I didn't realize that you did everything, like so the coloring.
Yeah.
The lettering, the trade dressing, so you the whole enchilada.
Sure.
So I'm a pin the question about that process in a minute, but I have to ask this question first. We're kind of in an indie renaissance again, but it's not like it was with Image and all that. It's kind of like everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and things happen. So it begs the question: as an indie creator, is there any desire for you to want to work for a major publisher anymore?
Well, it's always been my dream. You know what I mean? Like the little kid me would say like, yes, definitely. Oh my God. You know what I mean? But there is something to say about being there at the beginning. Like I said, I want to see the Dark Ones go big. I want to see Anansi Comics on a building somewhere. You know what I mean? Anansi Studios in the intro to a movie or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's definitely something to be said about building your own thing, being there from the start, building a relationship with the people that you work with, and having some kind of ownership over your creation. That being said, the distribution of a big publisher like that is just, it's pretty much every artist's dream and every writer's dream. I feel like to have your name on something that a lot of people see. So in that sense, there is still, I still always try to submit a lot of stories to Image, in case there's something there. But I definitely do prefer just working on a small team of people and having control over the whole process, from, the covers to the graphics to what's in between the pages, how they're all laid out and everything. Like I said, I like every aspect of creating, so I do really love just doing it yourself. And there's some kind of, power in seeing something you started with nothing, and then you have those 4 books that are behind Jay there, you know what I mean? Like, It is very cool.
I gotta ask this process question because now my mind is boggled a little bit. I mean, because like you guys, it's like a legit dynamic duo where you got the two-headed monster handling business, right? But I want to get to the coloring part because people don't talk about that and how important that is to the storytelling.
Yeah.
And so, walk us through the steps of making a page, like from laying it out to the colors. Like what is that step like?
Sure. So I start super rough. I think the main thing that I learned from creating comics is that you want to start not stick figures necessarily, but like just blocking out like squares for characters, triangles for trees, whatever, just so that you can, have an idea of how it's all laid out. And from there you can, refine, get your details in. So I'll start super rough on, I do it all digitally now just because it's a lot quicker. And then, once I have my pencils down, I'll do inks in a super normal way. And then I had to learn how to do coloring because the first comic that I got was like an 8-page short story in a compendium, and they wanted colors and I had no idea what to do. So I just, sat there and meticulously like colored everything in with a brush pen, and that took forever. But eventually, I figured out how to do flatting and cutting out my pages into like different sections that are on layers, and then using that to put in texture and lighting and everything. So it definitely took a while to get used to coloring. It was not, like I said, I used to just do black and white. I wouldn't even touch colors, but I was like, well, I can get some extra money if I do colors too, so I might as well learn it. And then it became one of my favorite parts. And Jamal mentioned grist, and in grist I sort of took a different approach and did painting instead of the airbrushed look of most comics now. I really wanted to have something more grungy, more gritty. So I did a brush pen and painting for grist with a ton of texture. And Jamal saw that and he was like, "Yep, this is the colors that I want." Yeah. So I'll do everything in flats, and then I'll lock the pixels so that the silhouette stays the same, and then I'll use a like really grungy brush to get nice texture in there, and it makes it feel a little bit more alive. You can see brush strokes, some really quick stuff. I feel like it gives it some energy, and I think it was really the right choice for the dark ones for sure.
This question is for the both of you. What's the most challenging thing about making comics?
I'll let you go first, Lucas. Go ahead.
I'd say the most challenging thing is when you're kind of in the thick of it, it can seem like there's like a mountain in front of you. And it's about just like keeping at it. And sometimes it's, it gets kind of tough to know that, at the end of the process, you're going to see the books that are behind Jamal right now. So just like the kind of repetitive, and when you're churning through pages and stuff, it gets a little bit difficult to see the end goal. But once you're there, you look back at it and you're like, this is incredible. I'm so glad, I stuck with it. I got through, and I have something amazing to look at on the other side. But I'd say, it's like with anything. If you keep doing it, if you keep repeating it, eventually you're gonna be like, oh my God, if I draw one more hand, I'm gonna lose
it. Yeah, I feel it, man. The hardest part for me is just the waiting, but being patient at the same time. Because I remember even with Lucas, he was like, man, I know I'm going slow. I'm like, no, dude, take your time. Like, I don't never want you to rush the artistic. This is me being impatient. Don't worry about don't let my impatience, influence your time clock. Please do not. It's just because I've been waiting my whole life for this. So it's like, to see my words, on paper, and then like where I was at, to think like, okay, this should have probably never, unless I get out, I'm never going to see this come to life. So let me just, put everything on paper, because this is as close as I'm going to get to actually being real. you know, and then like to actually get to this place to where shit, I'm free, or now I can make this happen, and to find Lukas, and then to get him just on page 1, and to get the first layout of it was like mind blowing to me. I was just like, dude, like, you don't understand, like this shit is beautiful, to where it's just the waiting. And every time he comes with a new picture or just a new format, whether he goes from pencils for the basic layouts, the pencils is like having a baby for me. And then when he goes from pencils, the inks is like having a baby for me. And then when he say, you know, and he goes from inks to colors, it's I had 3 babies already. And now it's like the letters, when he gets all done and I can read this thing, it's like I got a whole family, you know, full of beautiful babies. And which baby's your favorite? All of them. There's no hard part. Probably like in the middle right now, when, you know, between shows and everything, I'm trying, you know, it's the logistics of, you know, the business side of it.
Yeah, I was about to say, what about that whole administrative part? Isn't that like the doldrums?
Trash. I just want to just sit in a room and write. Honest to God. Yeah. Like I can go without the Instagram posts on a regular basis. I can go without, you know, just let me just sit in a room and write. That's all I really want to do. But I understand the marketing terms of it. I understand, you know, putting yourself out there and being, you know, basically a face, a brand, and having to build that brand. You know, so it's like, you know, sacrifices must be made all for the greater good.
I guess I didn't think about that, but yeah, the marketing is exhausting. It's an exhausting part of the process for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say, all right. So I have another question. Yeah, we talk about administrative. Okay, let's talk about the actual manufacturing of the comics. Like, what was that process like? Did you have to like pick paper, and like what was that whole thing like getting the comics printed? Because you just had your first run like a couple months ago, right?
Yeah. It was crazy, man. A couple months ago, my first ever comic book signing. It was getting advice from, you know, my peers, and then, you know, shopping around as far as finding good quality printers, somebody at, you know, good reasonable prices, and then getting them to ship me samples so I can feel the texture of the paper. You know, and feel like, you know, what it feels like to have, you know, different grades of paper, 70, 80 point, you know, gloss, matte, how those things will feel, you know, in your hands. Like, and I feel I got, you know, a great quality product, because, you know, it's like
it looks great.
Books,
yeah.
Thank you, man. The comic books, as far as the inside, you know, paper, the texture is like a lot thicker than your average, you know, comic book paper. The outside, you know, is a lot thicker and glossier than your average comic book, you know, and it's like, in the inside, you know, what we do as far as just, you know, the production, you know, the value, the pages and the stories, and, you know, the added little features, the little Easter eggs in the back and everything like that. Like, we quality over quantity every single time, you know, not just what, you know, what's inside and the story and the art, but, you know, the outside and how it's produced and everything like that. And this is what I'm showing you right now, like how all that happened. It's that guy, Lukas, hooked me up. Super talented graphic artist, man. He hooked it up. Like, I had the basic ideas of what I wanted to do, and he worked magic, man. There's one thing, you know, I can say it, but then he creates, and it's like, yeah, that's a miracle right there.
Dope,
and CGC graded, because he's gonna be worth some money one day.
Mark, take us home, man. Take us home.
All right, our very last question. Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you'd like supporters to know about?
The Godblade out now.
Or how can they get their hands on physical copies of the Dark Ones universe?
Man, well, you can go to my website, janansicomics.com, go to my website and order my books. However, I'm working on making that whole experience a lot better, you know, bringing them to, you know, making it easier process for people to order my books and, you know, get it to them. So I'm working on that right now. But right now, my next show is at the Nerds and Hip Hop Comic Book Comic-Con. That's in the Moreno Valley Mall, man, coming up on 24th of this month. I will be there, man. We're going to be holding it down, man. You're going to have not just the Godblade, you're going to have, you know, the Dark Ones, the Chronicles, the Compendium. You're going to have issue number 1, number 2, and you're going to have me there. You're going to have my artists there. Well, not my artists, but they're going to be there in spirit with me. You know what I mean? Holding it down, man. We got that, man. So I'm going to be announcing tour dates as far as just the little Comic-Cons I'm going to be hitting up, you know, this coming year, these coming months. So you'll be able to catch me there and we get it going. Oh, also, if you in the Los Angeles area, you can catch my books. You can go in person right now at the Comic Bug, man, in Culver City, Manhattan Beach, man. I'm making a little tour around little comic book shops around LA too, man, and having my books in those stores too, man. So, you know, we just getting it started. You know, everything is going as far as, you know, just the train. But man, the train is moving, man. So get on while it's good.
Get Godblade out now. It
There
just
we go.
came out. It's the best one we've made so far. I'm
Hands
super
down.
excited.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
For
Yes,
sure,
sir.
for sure.
We'll have to be back on when Nightwalkers 2 comes out.
Man, definitely Nightwalker. So I'm gonna get ready right there, right now, man. I got done with the project. I'm over with that one, so it's on to the next one.
Well, that's all for our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe and hit the like button. This is Six Layers. I'm Mike, speaking for Mark, Jamal Anansi, and Lukas Koelbel. We are out. Peace.
Six Layers.